Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. In the first update of the day, this is the latest from Rafael Brandao. Now, huge shout out to one of my subscribers for actually sending this to me this morning. He also helps me translate a bit of Portuguese from time to time. I'm very grateful for that. But Rafa looks incredible, and we've talked about all of these other guys, but I don't think I've got you guys' take on what do you think Rafa would do with this year's Mr. Olympia. Could he shock some people like Samson Dowda? Could he potentially push, top 8 or top 6? When I was honestly thinking about it, Rafa is probably my favorite physique in the open class to date. This guy's shape is almost unmatched, made round, bubbly. Also, a taller guy comes in very, very conditioned. And when Rafa is full, he's just skin bursting full. Now, keep in mind, just last year, Rafael Brandao did defeat Samson Dowda, Regan Grimes as well. So going into this year's Mr. Olympia, could all of these placings flip-flop once again? Now, these are some pictures from a couple of days ago. Rafa's definitely putting on some size this offseason, looking to make an impact at this year's Mr. Olympia. Me personally, I can see him as high as being in the top 10. If he gets any higher than that, I'll be very surprised but also excited. And in the next update of the day, Michal Krizo put this up on his story about a day ago. And this guy's arm just looks huge. And is this picture edited? Could very possibly be. Or he could just be pumped. Now, something I want to talk about for a second. Everyone is talking about we have to be on watch at this year's Mr. Olympia. Krizo's coming. Andrew Jack is coming. Derek Lunsford is coming. Guys, none of those guys are qualified for the Mr. Olympia. There is a very high possibility that none of those guys will compete in Open this year. So let's pump some energy into the guys that are qualified. Rafa, Samson, Charles Griffen. How are they going to do? Let's talk about some guys that are actually confirmed to be there. I apologize for the little rant, but it's so much talk about guys who aren't even qualified. And in the next update of the day, a very brief update from Akim Williams. Akim has been keeping everything under wraps for this Tampa Pro, and pretty much everyone has Akim winning as long as he comes in condition, because we know that Kamal is going to bring that hard, grainy conditioning as well as the crazy muscle maturity. Now, his coach, Justin Miller, did say if Akim posted a picture right now, he would completely break the internet. But I'm excited to see Akim Williams this weekend. And as I stated in my breakdown, he has Mr. Olympia potential as long as this guy can come in very, very conditioned. And in the next update of the day, we have some training footage of William Bonac doing some bicep curls. And to the right was Williams' win at this 2022 Boston Pro. Now, William Bonac started working with Chad Nichols at only about 5 or 6 weeks out from this Arnold Classic and arguably brought his best package to date. He could have beat Brandon Curry, arguably, if he fixed the gyno and the midsection issues. William has already had the gyno surgery. He's already back training. And William is the heaviest he's ever been in the offseason, but his midsection is incredible. He said he's feeling good. He has no bloating at all. Going into this year's Mr. Olympia, people have to watch out for this guy. And in the next update of the day, the picture on the left was posted up by Hassan Mostafa recently. I highly doubt this is recent just because how conditioned he is. But this guy's incredible. He just has slabs and slabs of muscle piled onto this physique. Incredibly conditioned. And last year compared to this year, man, it's like a completely different person. The entire texture of Hassan's skin has changed. And Hassan has actually been out at Pure Muscle and Fitness. So he's been around Antoine Vaillant, Dorian Hamilton, as well as Quinn Beastwood. Not sure he moved to Canada, but he's definitely been out there, working around those guys. So always great to see the camaraderie in the sport. And speaking of Antoine Vaillant, these are the latest updates from him. Now, as you guys know, there's a little bit of back and forth between Ian and Blessing. Antoine was into it a little bit, but him and Ian are very good friends, so he was very respected. But do you guys think it's a possibility that Antoine Vaillant beats Ian Valliere at this year's Mr. Olympia? Or do you guys think Ian and Antoine, are ahead of Blessing and Blessing has a ways to go? Interesting conversation as always, but Antoine is definitely more detailed than both of those guys and comes in crazy condition. I'm excited to see him in December. And in the next update of the day, this is the latest update from Brett Wilkin. Now, Brett said on a podcast about a month ago he does plan to compete this year before the year is over. With the way that Brett is looking now, I doubt that we see him hit a show that will qualify him for this year's Mr. Olympia. So we may possibly see him at a European show at the end of the year. That's just me making a guess, guys. I have no confirmation on that. But if we remember earlier to this year's Arnold Classic, everyone was pumping a lot of hype into Brett Wilkin. People had Brett Wilkin winning the Arnold Classic over Brandon Curry. Now, something I like about Brett, he never really said those things himself. Everyone pumped that hype into him. Brett has just been working. He's been at the drawing board. He hasn't been doing any talking. Brett is getting bigger and he's putting in the work, and that's exactly what you need to do, guys. Just put in the work. And in the next update of the day, we have some training footage from Steve Kuclo, who's been pretty much keeping it quiet from this Texas Pro Prep. He's actually been keeping it so quiet, I almost forgot that he's doing this show. But I already gave you guys my early prediction that Steve is going to win this show and qualify for this year's Mr. Olympia. I really like his physique because we know bodybuilding at the heart is about coming in big and condition, and that's exactly what Steve Kuclo does. He definitely does need to bring out a little more detail in his physique. He pretty much has all the sides, so he should just work on refining. Now, the next update of the day, this is the latest update from Charles Griffen. This guy is dense, grainy, round, and as I said earlier in my video, you know, Rafa, Samson, Charles Griffen, those are guys that I'm looking at to be in, you know, the top 8 or the top 10, not guys that aren't even qualified yet. And keep in mind, guys, just earlier this season in Cali, Charles Griffen was able to be a very good Moshe Bun. Moshe Bun placed 10th at last year's Mr. Olympia. So going into this year's Mr. Olympia, you know, you have to look at Charles as a serious threat for at least that top 10 position. Now, the next update of the day, this was actually posted up recently by Tim Budesheim. But look at the arms of Nick Walker. I don't want to take anything away from Tim, but Nick's arm to our right, his left arm is just massive. Now, going into this show, Tim Budesheim is in my top 5. You guys haven't seen my breakdown and predictions, definitely go check that out. Tim has been in the top 5 in every show he's ever done. And I believe that Tim was significantly improved in Chicago versus the Portugal Pro earlier this year. So hopefully he comes in even better at this Tampa Pro. And in the next update of the day, this is the latest from Justin Rodriguez at 290 pounds. Justin says this is the best he has ever looked at this weight. He hasn't confirmed if he's prepping or not yet, but I believe he has something up his sleeve. Now, Justin isn't qualified for the Mr. Olympia, so he would either have to win a show, and all of these shows are becoming extremely competitive with it being later in the season, or he would have to do multiple shows to build up more points. Now, if Justin is unable to qualify for this year's Mr. Olympia, he was 8th last year, so that does open up a spot at the top 10. And switching over to 212, these are the latest updates from Keon Pearson at 2 days out from the Tampa Pro. Keon said he is currently depleted and at 203 pounds. Cannot wait to see how this looks once he fills it out. And if Keon brings his best to the stage this weekend, we could be witnessing something very, very special. As you guys all know, Keon is one of the most genetically gifted athletes, probably in bodybuilding history. If he's able to bring the conditioning, may be a very special moment. But these are the hamstrings of Keon Pearson, courtesy of his coach Patrick Tour at 2 days out. Now, the next update of the day, this is the latest from Derek Oslin. Is this going to be conditioned enough to be competitive at this Tampa Pro? Definitely looks to be more conditioned than I've seen him in the past, but he still looks to be a bit watery. But he still has 2 more days to try to bring this in. And this guy has incredible shape as well, guys, but can he finally bring the conditioning? And in the next update of the day, this is the latest from Ricky Moulton. I did share these images yesterday, but for those of you who haven't seen, he's been pretty much keeping it under wraps. Now, I believe I placed him around 5th in my predictions for this show just because I'm not sure how he's going to look next to these guys, because a lot of these guys look very thick in the 212 division. Some of these guys look like they're 230 from the side. But I've seen people place him as high as 2nd in this show. And honestly, based off the shape, he could definitely win, but this isn't a classic show, guys. This is 212. And those side shots are very, very hard to win against those thick, heavily muscled guys. And another guy that I did share yesterday in my breakdown, Nathan Epler at 2 days out. As I said, Nathan is a bit tall for this division. He's about 5'7", maybe even 5'8". But this guy comes in crazy condition, has incredible shape. Look at the delts on this guy, just huge, very, very tiny waist. And going into this show, he has to be the favorite to win because he is the highest Olympia placer. But some people have him, you know, as low as 4th place. And next up in the news, this was posted up recently by Milo Sarchev. I hope it is recent because if it is, that means Flex Wheeler is out of the hospital. But from left to right, starting with Regan Grimes from the left, haven't really seen too much from Regan lately, but Regan is still being coached by Milos. Seems like he's working pretty hard. Regan does look pretty big. Logan Franklin is getting a bit leaner because he has a guest posing coming up soon. Flex Wheeler was in the hospital recently. He put up a post saying say goodbye to the dreamer, and a lot of people took that negatively, but it was just some lyrics from a song. Glad to see Flex doing better. And Andrew Jack, the man that everyone is talking about, can he come in and win the Texas Pro? Can he win the Texas Pro going to this year's Mr. Olympia and shake things up as high as the top 5? And ending this video here with the archive of the day. I have been tending to forget these from time to time, but you guys let me know in the comment section below which bodybuilder is this, and even better if you guys can name the year and the competition. As always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.